go get killed. Well, what happened is the environment changed, and so it allowed what I wanted to do and what he wanted to do, and we totally, it just clicked, and I don't know how it ended up working out, but it just worked. And so when we got boots in Ramadi, you know, I pinned Lieutenant Humphrey, which is funny. He picked up Sergeant, and then Lieutenant Humphrey, he picked up Sergeant, and then the day later Lieutenant. And so he was Lieutenant Humphrey, and he took over a station, and I took over sabotage because Iraqi Army was there, and IPs were there, so there were like 200 some Iraqis there. And then
where did that take place? Is that in Ramadi? You as far as on?
Yeah, that was in Ramadi because
who was present?
Me. And I think I went over with Lieutenant Falk, Sace. All the lieutenants went over, so it was me, Brivola, Evan, and Humphrey. Humphrey came over on, there was advanced party, then there was like an advanced Lima, and then the rest of the company came. So the lieutenants came over ahead of time with Lieutenant Humphrey. And I got the blessing from the 6, I said. But what's funny is I also asked him ahead of time, hey, I want to play in a month earlier, I want to play around with rank. I want to start promoting people funny things. And he did say yes to that. He said, all right, we'll look into it, is what he said. But, you know, it ended up happening.
And then the fact that you knew Ramadi from before and had the continuity, what was the impact of that?
You know, it's hard. I don't think I would have been as confident about my decision had I not known what the hell I was talking about, because you don't know what you don't know. So when I got there, I was immediately shocked because it was a 180 from where it was. No one was trying to kill us, so that's a plus. So that was almost a disadvantage because I had all these preconceived notions of what Ramadi was, and so very quickly I had to reorient and say, all right, this is a different place, you need to treat it differently. But at the same time, because I had an idea in the rear, I was able to formulate all these ideas, not on a bad model, but just on the same kind of terrain at least, that I knew we would be able to set up in these houses and all that. So it was a mixed blessing in that it wasn't 100% a blessing because it did change so much, but I did have a better understanding because of that.
And what about knowing specific people and terrain?
Well, terrain more than people, because back then we knew some people, but frankly we were so concentrated on the enemy we didn't make too much time knowing friends. We knew targets. You know, I still remembered Anwar, and I still had full intention of getting my guy.
How did the Anwar story cross over Ramadi 2?
Okay, so Anwar, well, you know, like a month in, Major Quinn sends a picture to Captain Mindset and showed this to Lieutenant Mujica, and it's a picture of Major Quinn with his arm around Anwar's brother, who's in an IP uniform, like in the middle of the street. And so I'm looking at this and I'm like, yeah, awesome. So like, this douchebag is now an IP. But by that point, you know, I can't be telling my Marines something not, you know, I can't drink the Kool-Aid. I gotta drink the Kool-Aid too. So, you know, bygones be bygones. I let it slide. So that's his brother. Well then, Major Quinn also meets Anwar at the end of the deployment and actually has like a face-to-face with him. And so, you know, throughout the whole Ramadi 2, I'm still asking IPs, you know, do you know this Anwar guy? Like, what do you think about him? Because I'm still thinking about rolling him up. But at the end of the day, it boiled down to, okay, you can't have this philosophy about what you want to do with Iraqis, and then this one guy, you know, you go against all that and say, all right, you know, except you, like, I'm gonna go get you. No, bygones be bygones. You gotta overcome that, and you know, one of the hardest things for the Marines to get over, and myself included, is the same guys who were trying to kill us were protecting us, and we were living with them, and that's just a fact, and it's a cold, hard fact. And that's just the way it goes. I mean, you got to get over it.
And then we touched on your background, personal traits, and you talked about how your own extensive travel was a positive factor in your being able to function in all this environment. To what degree did you eat the local food, partake the local customs?
Well, let me put it this way: when we egressed out of Ramadi, they thought I was going to attack the Marines and like stay in Ramadi. I'd say I crossed over pretty hard, and I think some people get lost in it. I think there's extremes. I think there's the guy who says, no, I'm an American and I don't care and I'm a Marine and I'm gonna be a Marine in Iraq. There's that extreme, and then there's the guy who crosses over so much that he begins to like hate the Marine Corps and sympathize with the enemy or sympathize with the issues. Where I wanted to be is I will still hold every Marine value true and I will hold my own values true, but externally, from what the people can see, I'm going to move as far as possible to the Iraqi side. So what's that mean? Like, I'm wearing a Distasha as much as possible. I have the most ridiculous mustache that I could humanly get away with, so which I constantly got yelled at. I didn't eat American food for like 5 months, I think, because I was always with Iraqis, and frankly, in the U.S. or anywhere, if you and me really want to get to know each other, we're going to either go to the bar or we're going to grab a meal. Preferably go to the bar, but I couldn't do that in Ramadi, so we ate together. And that's how I got that connection with them. And Arabs in general are very social people, and they will not trust you. Yeah, I think anyone's like this, but Americans are more trusting by nature, but they just won't trust you if they don't feel a connection with you and if you don't have that deep social bond. And I made a point to my Marines to try to create that bond. I forced them to eat with them. I forced them to not congregate with themselves. The common area, when I came in, the common area in Thela used to be Marines only. The whole building used to be Marines before we got there, and I canked it. I kicked all the Marines out except the A-team guys.